Well, and I agree with you. And Anwar was a terrorist, and he should have been taken out. I'm glad he got taken out. But I know the games that lawyers play. And Obama wasn't a dumb attorney. He was, Harvard Law. He knew exactly what he was doing. The United States could have had Anwar taken out. They knew where he was. They could have had him taken out, similar to the way they took out what was the guy, Gaddafi. You pay off a foreign government and let them do it. They do what the British do. They will find an enemy of your enemy, make a friend, and have you thrown out of an airplane. And the British government will say, "My condolences to him. It's tragic how he was killed." But the way it was done was, I don't think it had anything to do with Anwar al-Awlaki. I think it had to do with getting rid of habeas corpus. Go ahead, Sakim.
Hey, I was just gonna add one thing that took place in that time when you was going down the timeline. You remember the FCC forced the cell phone industry to switch from analog to digital. Well, the federal government wanted them to do that because it was much harder to track analog. You couldn't really track it. And so when they switched everybody to digital, that kind of set up the apparatus for the intelligence community and made it much, much easier. A lot of people don't realize that, but that was the real premise behind it. And that's when they was initiating the whole control thing. Because right after they did that, then, of course, you had 9/11 and what have you. The second thing is the whole designation of classifying somebody as a terrorist is subjective. It's not objective anymore. When the first administration of Trump, they took the Ku Klux Klan off the terrorist list. And then when he added Antifa for the longest only had one incident that resulted in death. Most of the stuff that they did was property damage, but because they have a different ideology from some of these other organizations, they want to classify them as a terrorist, even though the Ku Klux Klan and the White Aryan Resistance and what have you, they took some of those organizations off, and these are hardcore organizations with a history of violence, of murdering numerous people, including federal authorities. So, as a matter of fact, and when I was still in, I know that a lot of branches of service received that documentation about white supremacists that infiltrated the military, law enforcement, and what have you, even government, some of the political positions. And so, you can't really trust any of those designations because it depends on who's talking. They use their subjective idea. If you are a political enemy to them, i.e. us, then, they'll just label us as urban terrorists. And I'll yield the mic.
Yeah, that happened to one of my colleagues. His brother went in was talking to a white police officer and told the white police, he just cussed the white police officer out at a meeting. The police officer said something to him. He cussed him out and called him a couple of racial slurs, and they killed his brother, and they labeled his brother a terrorist. So you're right, that word terrorist is thrown around. My Jumbotron is shut down. I don't know if somebody up high didn't like my title or whatnot, but if you look in the purple pill, I put the old, the emblem, the mascot for the NSA before the Patriot Act was passed. And if you look at it, hidden in plain sight, it says right in the middle of that eagle, all of your data. They was telling you what it's about. Not some of your data, not your criminal data. I want all of it. And that eagle got red eyes too.
Professor, I was going to say, that was the other thing. I don't know if anyone else has seen, but I saw somewhere last night as I was scrolling through Twitter, I saw a tweet where they said, I think the DOJ used to have a document that some group, institute, whatever, did a study that said that white supremacists and white extremists or whatever ideology is like, it's a threat to the homeland. It's a domestic threat or whatever the case may be. And I forgot who tweeted that or whatever, but the tweet said like, hey, as of September 12th, that document has been removed from the DOJ website. And the thing is, I am aware of that being a thing that the DOJ, FBI, whoever has said repeatedly, has said before, like white extremism and white supremacy is a threat to the homeland. It's one of the greatest threats to the homeland. And it's like, okay, well, where the documentation go, or the piece of paper? Again, like I said, some of this stuff nobody ever thinks to go look for it, or to go ever read up on it. It's just like some things that you see in passing. And I was just like, damn, that was one of those things that I normally try to like save off somewhere, because I like to be able to go back and reference certain things when I'm talking. And I was just like, damn, that's one of the things that I just don't ever recall that I saved off.
Right. Ridiculousness. All right, go ahead, Dr. Ward.
Yes, sir. I want to disagree with some things you were saying. For instance, using wet works to take out our enemies. We can't do that. We tried that, and we see how much it fucks up things. That's how we got Osama bin Laden, because he was part of the
allegedly.
Mujahideen. No, he was part of the Mujahideen in Afghanistan, and the CIA trained them up, gave them Stinger missiles to fight the Soviets and stuff like that.
Oh, you mean that's how we created Osama bin Laden?
Yeah, okay. so that could cause blowback if we outsource the hits. Truth be told, that was probably one of the only things I liked that Obama did, was like going head on with these musty motherfuckers. So when we went after Anwar al-Awlaki, who was an anchor bastard, who should not have had citizenship in the first place, it's understood that if you take up arms against the United States, you by definition have forfeited your citizenship, whether you've on the record renounced it. Like if you're a U.S. citizen and we're at war, which is going to happen with China, you go to China and you fight on their side. Okay, you even though you didn't go through the paperwork and renounce your citizenship, by your actions you have demonstrated you have forfeited your citizenship. So him taking him out with a Hellfire missile, I'm like, okay, fine. You want to waste tax dollars to go get this guy, bring him on trial, make him more of a martyr? Nah, fuck that. Cut his nuts off and shove him down his throat. That's me, but then I'm petty. But I believe Sakim was talking about the digitization of cell phones, making them easier to track. Yeah, brother, you're right. The reason why I learned that, I used to follow the O.J. Simpson case. I was studying it to figure out who really did it. It wasn't O.J. But what I found out was that a lot of the detectives on the case had cell phones. And while they were at the crime scene, they were using their cell phones. They were calling people. Wow. I smell a frame up. And Johnny and the defense, they requested the cell phone records. And the cell phone records were redacted because if they knew the numbers, they could have triangulated where they were. Were they at the crime scene? Were they not at the crime scene? Who were they calling? And so, yeah, they could have also, they could have also triangulated the calls if they were digital. So, yeah, I mean, like, also when Simpson was on the run and they were looking for him, when he was in the Bronco, Al Collins was driving a Bronco, and the way they found him was they triangulated his cell phone. It was still analog back then, but yeah, that's true. Digital is a more discrete signal, so it's easier to try. It's easier to track. I yield the mic.
Yeah, it was a show. It was back before my time, but somebody recommended it. I checked the reruns. It's from the early 90s. It was by a guy named Art Bell. He had a radio show in Las Vegas, and his whole premise was people on the run, former, top secret clearance military people, contractors, engineers who were on the run that thought they were going to die could call his show and snitch before they got killed. And I think his show brought some attention to what Sekim and Dr. Ward was talking about. Y'all check out Art Bell when you get a chance. It's some great. Now, some of them...
You mean Coast to Coast AM radio?
Yeah.
Yeah, some of that stuff is obviously people that are suffering from mental illness. But it's about a handful of phone calls on there where you hear people get executed and shit. And they like talking about top secret things. On one occasion, Art Bell's whole radios, this dude worked at S4 or Area 51 or something and was on the run for his life and called Art Bell and was like, "Oh, Lord, I've been on the phone too long. Listen to some of the shit he said." And then the shit goes out. Like Art Bell's whole radio station like fried out and nobody knew why. And Art Bell said, what y'all didn't hear is the guy scream bloody murder. Like, ah. But yeah, check out Art Bell. That's some interesting stuff. But I agree with y'all. Yeah, it's all part of a grand design. I think since the Eisenhower administration, the slow closing in of getting rid of our constitutional rights begun, these people take their time and they're meticulous in their chess game. Go ahead, Original Blood. Oh, go ahead, Chris.
Oh, Professor, I just wanted to say this one thing as well. One thing that I've been seeing online is some of these tethers and people saying like, "Oh, I have U.S. citizenship. I'm just like y'all. This, that, and the third, and whatever." And again, like I said, I don't think people understand because I just like to know random stuff or whatever. The thing is, there are 3 ways that citizenship can be revoked. 3 ways that it can officially be revoked. And one way I don't think necessarily needs a person's knowledge or consent. A judge can go up there. Your citizenship can be revoked by a judge. And again, like I said, I'll see if I can find any additional information on this. But that citizenship being revoked by a judge, the judge may or may not have to let you know that. I think the Secretary of State, we see with Marco Rubio, is also trying to do something. They're trying to put in legislation with people's passports. If people are speaking out or whatever, using saying, revoke this person's passport. I think people with visas. It's all these different things that people feel are a right. Once they have it, it's mine, and I have a right. Under this administration, the administration is, and I always say this to people about Donald Trump, if you ever pay attention under this presidency or the previous one, you will learn a lot about the law. If you look past the man and you pay attention to what is going on under his administrations, I feel that he should be studied in war colleges. Because the stuff that happens in both of his administrations, it's like, wow, somebody is really sitting back and really just great. It's something to be studied, and I'll yield the mic for there.
Yeah. Well, the status quo is definitely getting upended. I'll say that.
Yeah, he's shaking some shit up. I don't know where it's going, though. Go ahead, Original Blood.
It needs to be shaken up. These people don't deserve... there are a lot of countries, real quick, sorry. There are a lot of countries where they prioritize the citizens. Like when I was in Monaco, I couldn't just go in and rent any apartment. No, I had to rent where the foreigners lived because Monaco is known as a rich, jet set city. But the people living there, the natives, are poor. They're poor Europeans. For the most part, they just happen to be born in paradise. They just happen to be born in a country that has decided that it wants to be the home of very wealthy people with yachts and all kinds of extravagant wealth, which is, concentrated near the coast. But they're just regular people that just happen to be blessed to live in a very beautiful area in the world. And they don't just throw them under the bus like, oh, well, I guess all the rich people bought your stuff. That sucks to be you. They make sure that the natives are taken care of. And it doesn't matter. You can have trillions of dollars. They're not going to let trillionaires come in there and upend the natural citizens. And that's all we're asking. All we're asking is for Americans to be prioritized.
That's not an unreasonable ask. I haven't been to Monaco yet, but it's on my bucket list. I heard it's gorgeous.
Well, you can walk across it in a half an hour.
Yep, and I heard it's tiny.
It's very tiny.
Interesting. Original Blood, go ahead, bro.
Yeah, I just want to pose the question. If any of you have encountered, any of these, whacked out Democrats, trying to blame, Black Americans because FBAs, because we didn't vote for the Democrats. Because I've encountered this case, and he would get mad. He's a staunch Democrat. And see, he's retired, and so he was getting, he had on some program like reduce, rent. I'm not rent, but utilities and stuff like that for people that made a certain amount of money and da 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 da. And I keep telling him, I said, but listen, I said, are you aware?
Black students, we need to know our history.
The black history we're being taught in public schools is repetitive.
As a black high school student, I want to learn more about my history in the school books.
We need to update our books.
As Black American students, we deserve an accurate depiction of what history truly is.
I want to see myself in these textbooks.
In the public school system, Black history is vague.
Why don't the school books ever talk about the Freedmen's Bureau?
I created the workbook for the African American family. This book helps fill in the gaps that the school books don't. Purchase the workbook for the African American family on OurStoryPublications.com and use the Cash App, $Our Story Publications.